Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Estrella virtual visit series. My name is Allison Campbell with Estrella Consulting, and I'm so excited to welcome Sarah Maliarik from Babson College. Our virtual visit series is designed to introduce you all to a variety of colleges and allow for us to get to know the institutions and their staff in a more personal way. So thank you, Sarah, for joining us. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. If you don't mind just giving us a quick bio and how long you have worked at Babson College.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I've actually just worked at Babson College for a few months now. I started back in July, but I've been absolutely loving it. It's an incredible culture on campus, and I feel really lucky to be a part of this community.
That's great. And where did you go for your undergrad?
For undergrad, I went to Wheaton College outside of Boston.
Okay.
Had an amazing experience there, and then I moved to upstate New York to teach for a couple of years, and then
Okay.
worked in admissions at another institution.
Okay, great. So your heart is with these small private liberal arts schools.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I went to a small private liberal arts school as well. So understand, like you mentioned, culture. It's just such a wonderful place to grow and connect and have that personal touch and experience in all aspects of your college experience. So I'm glad that you're loving your time at Babson. So for those people that are watching, can you tell us a little bit about Babson College, where it's located, your demographics,
Yeah,
size, all that
absolutely.
stuff?
Yeah, so Babson is a small school. We have just under 3,000 undergraduate students, 30% of whom are coming from outside the United States. So it is an incredibly global population here on campus. We're located in Wellesley, Massachusetts, which is 10 miles west of downtown Boston. So we are in a safe suburban campus, self-contained campus, but it's also really easy to get into Boston. We have campus shuttles that go in there, the T also. So the city is right there at your fingertips. Babson is a business school. We have one major. It is a bachelor's of science in business administration. Where students can differentiate is through our various concentrations. So we have 26 different concentrations, and students can choose to do 0, 1, or 2. Those concentrations include things like marketing, entrepreneurship, finance is the most popular right now, real estate, sports management, but also things like environmental sustainability and literary and visual arts. So there's quite a range there. We
Okay.
are the #1 school for entrepreneurship and have been for 29 years now. And we also were named the #2 best college in the United States by the Wall Street Journal for the second time just earlier this week, which is really exciting. So while our focus really is entrepreneurship, our goal is not to make everyone be an entrepreneur, but rather to teach students to think like an entrepreneur, because those are skills that are going to take them far in any aspect of business.
For sure. Definitely a lot of transferable skills, not just in like the statistics and the management aspect, but soft skills as well. Just how to treat
Absolutely.
people, navigating certain situations, and I think that's really great. So thank you for the background. I'm excited. I'm hoping to go to Boston in spring of 2026 and do a campus kind of just like a campus swing and see as many as I
Yeah.
can. So I would love to check out Babson. So as you are recruiting, tell us about the type of student that you're looking for as a recruiter to come to Babson.
Yeah, absolutely. So we obviously do a holistic review with our application. And of course, we're looking for bright, smart students who have challenged themselves in high school. But we're also really looking for community members that are going to contribute a lot to Babson's campus. Inclusivity is very important to us. Diversity is very important to us. And we want to bring in a class of intentional, like-minded, but also students with diverse perspectives and backgrounds as well. So absolutely, we look at those academic pieces, but the qualitative parts of the application are really important to us too.
Okay. And would you say for someone who's looking at Babson and you're reviewing an application, is it, I would say, imperative to have some sort of business background or having some curriculum that deals with business? Like, again, when you're looking at that application, what signifies someone who would be a right fit for, again, you're very specialized being a business school. How does
Right.
that kind of lend itself
Yeah,
to
that's a really
application?
important question. We have no sort of requirement or even preference for that. We also recognize that many students aren't going to have the opportunity prior to college to take a business course necessarily or have some sort of business endeavor. So we really just want to see how students have kind of been involved in their community and in their schools. If they've had any sort of exposure to business or entrepreneurship, that's great and something that they should definitely highlight in their application. But it really serves more of an affirmation that business is what they want to do. It is not at all an expectation for students to have those experiences.
Okay. Well, that's a good point. I feel like depending on where you're coming from, you might not have the resources to get into a DECA or some
Right.
sort of curriculum that lends itself to a business pathway. Or if you're a student that might have a lot of responsibilities outside the home or be really involved in things, you might have not have an opportunity to get a job or an internship. So let's kind of move into that. So what are some of these opportunities that you're finding that students at Babson are doing in order to kind of find out what is their passion within business?
You're talking like on campus once they get here?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that, the entrepreneurial, I'll start by saying that we have what we call ET&A, which is entrepreneurial thought and action. And it is a mindset, a teaching methodology, and it's something that obviously exists within the classroom, but also very much outside of the classroom. So through our over 120 clubs and organizations, students have many different opportunities to get involved and build a community. Many of those opportunities are related to business in some respect, though not all. So there's the Babson Finance Association. There's a lot of different clubs that have various focuses on different aspects of business. We also have a number of different centers and institutes on campus designed to support students in any sort of business endeavors that they want to pursue. So there's one for like women specifically. There's one for people coming from a family business background.
Oh,
But then
wow.
even in the living environment, we have residence halls on campus, of course, but we also have some living and learning communities, which allow like-minded students to live in a space together. So E-Tower or Entrepreneurship Tower is an example of one of those as well.
Okay, that's great. Kind of going back to the admission side, are you seeing any types of trends in your admission pool? Like, are you seeing draw from a certain area of the US, or are you seeing more ED if you offer ED? Like, can you tell me a little bit about like the applicant pool that you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. We are receiving applications from all over the United States and again, all over the world. We recruit very actively internationally, just like we do domestically. So again, creating that really sort of diverse student body here. Uh, we offer early decision one, early action, early decision two, and regular decision over the course of two different deadlines, November 1st and January 2nd. Early decision is pretty popular for Babson, though we aim to never fill more than half the class with early decision applicants because we want to make sure that we're accessible to everybody. In terms of demographics and where students are coming from, it really is all over the place. I can tell you that we're at about a 50-50 male to female ratio.
Okay.
And in our most recent freshman classes, 20% were first generation college students as well.
Oh, wow. That's great. I love that you said that you're 50-50 because I feel like business, maybe my mind just goes to like a being more of a male dominated major, but I love that it's 50-50. And you said 20% were first gen?
That's correct.
That's great. That's really helpful for your diversity as well. Like there's so many different ways to be diverse in a campus
Yes.
community, and I think that's a really impactful way and it just brings so much more different perspective to your
Yes,
campus. Um,
absolutely.
so when you have students that are interested in Babson, is demonstrated interest something that you consider?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
And what would be some of the ways that you find are like effective ways to show demonstrated interest? And for those who don't know what demonstrated interest is, it's essentially ways that you show the college love as the student or the family. So what are some of the most effective ways?
Yeah, we want students who are interested in Babson, right? Like you said earlier, Babson's an incredibly niche school. There really is no other school quite like it out there. So it's important to us that you understand and we agree that this is a good fit. Some different ways to show demonstrated interest would include, of course, visiting campus. That is a great thing to do for your sake as the student, just to kind of get a feel for whether this is the right place for you or not. We also travel and visit high schools and do different college fairs, like I said, all over the US and all over the world. Additionally, we have a variety of different virtual events that we host, including information sessions, some virtual preview days, and there are a lot of different ways to engage with us online. In fact, there's something that we are promoting right now on our website where prospective students can connect with current students on Babson's campus, because what a better way to find out what it's like to be a student at Babson than by talking to one directly. So that's another great form of
Yes.
demonstrated interest.
And love it or hate it, the students are usually the most transparent. I used to
Yeah.
work in an admission office at my alma mater, the small private liberal arts school we were discussing. And sometimes they would get a little bit too real, and you're trying to reel it in, like, okay, we don't want to tell mom and dad this, like where you like to go out on a Thursday night or things like that. But it's true. Like those are things that, maybe a student might want to know, like, what's the social life like? What do you guys do for fun? What's the fun fraternity or sorority? Like, do you guys go to the football games? Those types of things. So I love that you allow that option for students to get to know campus and the community through your student body. Um, what would you say? Is that what this is my typical question. What's a major that you feel is flying under the radar, but you have one major? So what would you say are some subspecialties, like you mentioned, that are really trending or maybe flying under the radar?
Yeah, so I mean, finance, that's not flying under the radar at all, but it is trending for sure. It's our most popular concentration. Marketing is a newer concentration, as is sports management. Real estate, I feel like, is growing as well. We have a new center on campus for entrepreneurship and real estate combined. But I think that there's also some really neat concentrations that focus on the global impact and social justice that are important to consider as well. And again, students can pursue 0, 1, or 2 concentrations. They have up until their senior year to declare a concentration. The concentration is 4 courses, so it's not a huge commitment, and it's a
Okay.
great way to just kind of specialize maybe in something that you're interested in. But you can also just take a lot of different courses across different concentrations to see what you might be interested in as well.
Okay. I love that you mentioned real estate. And it's funny because I have two students this cycle that have mentioned real estate. And I feel like in the past, I mean, people that are my age or maybe older, you don't necessarily need a college degree to have a real estate license. There's a licensure, and at least in the state of Ohio, that one can go through, but it's not easy. And the way that the
Mhm.
market is, everybody's trying to get into real estate because it is very lucrative. And especially when you're looking at like commercial real estate, I think that the thing that's kind of I don't know, that people don't really understand about it is there's so much law information,
Yeah.
and like you need to understand taxation, you need to understand finance, you need to understand mortgages and loans. Like there is so many different aspects of business that
Mhm.
go into that and I'm not really surprised that this is becoming a really popular 4-year degree, because you can be a little bit more prepared and maybe get your foot in the door somewhere versus like taking the exam and then kind of having to broker your own,
Right.
like work for someone else and kind of be like, at the very bottom of the barrel, where if you have a degree and you have connections at a place like Babson, then you might start off at a firm somewhere working in commercial real estate, or, being able to climb a few hops up the ladder before over
Definitely.
some of your peers.
Definitely.
So, okay, a question on the academic side. Do you guys have an honors program?
We do have an honors program. It's something that students apply for after they've started here on campus. So it's not something that they apply for with their application to Babson.
Okay.
And it's a pretty small cohort. It involves some additional coursework and mentorship programs and things like that, but it does exist.
Okay. And is there any monetary gain to that? So once you apply, like, and you become a member of the honors program, do you receive a scholarship? Do you get priority scheduling? Do you get a stipend for study abroad? Anything like that?
No, no, no monetary gain.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the application process since you opened that door. I'm assuming you're on the Common App.
Yes.
Do you have any type of supplemental essays or interview process for students that are interested?
Yes, so we do not do interviews for first year students. We do have 2 supplemental writing pieces that we require. The first is why Babson, basically. Like we've already said, it's a very niche school. We want to make sure it's a good fit. So you have 500 words or a 1 minute video to express
Ooh.
why you think that Babson and business are routes that you want to pursue. And then we also have another shorter writing piece, 250 words, basically about your lived and learned experiences and how you'll promote inclusivity on campus, because that's something that we really value.
So these are two mandatory essays for
That's correct.
supplements. Okay. So the diversity prompt essentially and a Y Babson.
Why
So
Babson?
when you do the video, is that something through Glimpse or do you have your own platform through that?
They just do it through the common application, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's and we have no preference one way or the other either. So
Okay. Yeah. Have you heard of Glimpse? Do you know what I'm talking about with Glimpse?
no, no.
Okay, so it's kind of an up and coming program, but essentially a student would sign up for Glimpse and they get a 60 to 90 second, I guess it wouldn't be Glimpse because this is school specific, but Glimpse
Mhm.
allows someone to do a 60 to 90 second video upload and they can send it to colleges that are on the Glimpse list.
Okay.
And they're actually able to put like it's almost like on The Bachelor when you give someone a rose, you can star two of them as like your top
Oh,
picks, but
yeah.
it has to be essentially neutral. Like it's something they had a really good example of one where a student was talking about his heritage. Like he talks about his last name and like how important his Puerto Rican heritage is to him. He's first gen and like to have this opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. But it goes out to every college that he selects.
Mhm.
So it can't be like, I love Babson and this is why. So you probably don't use Glimpse, but for those of you that are watching, if you are looking for maybe a competitive edge, or maybe there's something that is really important to you or about you that you'd like to articulate to a committee, that's a great way to do that. And it's rather inexpensive. It's like $22, I think, to set up a Glimpse account. But sounds like they can maybe do the video and then upload it into the Common App, like you said. Okay. So this is a two-parter. Do you offer merit scholarship? And if so, is that something that is identified at the point of admission? Or is that something that, there's other paperwork that a student would have to fill out or like hidden scholarship opportunities? Can you just kind of explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just kind of talk about financial aid overall. So
Okay.
we are need blind and meet 100% of demonstrated need for domestic students. For international students, we are need aware. For domestic students, we require both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. We do
Okay.
also offer merit scholarships, most of which students are automatically considered for with their application, and they'll receive their whole financial aid package. Everyone will receive their whole financial aid package with their admission decision.
Okay.
So those merit scholarships, most of them students are automatically considered for. There are a few larger ones that can be found on our website that do require something additional to be submitted by the student. Those deadlines are a month after the application deadline. So it's before you've received your admission decision, but you do have some more time to get those additional
Gotcha.
pieces in. It
Okay,
is
so you must
important
have
to,
been applied. You must apply, and that unlocks the opportunity to fill out that next step, or can you do that simultaneously?
I believe you can do it simultaneously, but you just have that extra time. It
Okay.
is important to know, though, that 90% of the financial aid we're giving out is need-based aid. So only about 10% of our financial aid is going towards merit aid.
Okay, that's good to know. I always encourage our students and families to look at, I don't know if you've heard, because you said your mom's an IEC, so I'm sure she has heard of them. It's called Big J Consulting.
Mhm.
And it's two IECs that put together these phenomenal spreadsheets that break down things like amount of need-based aid a college gives, merit-based aid, the average aid award. They do ED rates, RD rates, things like that. But it's always interesting, and I tell folks, if you're worried about, if cost is a concern to you, like if you have need, does the college meet 100% of need? Do they only meet partial need?
Right.
If you are a family that can afford it, but you still need to be cost conscious, does that college give out merit aid? And like you said, in your case, like, yes, we do give out merit aid, but only 10%. So being mindful of that, like those are students that are probably at the very tip top and they're applying for these high echelon scholarships that might cover like a significant amount. So 10% are getting it, and those are larger amounts, not as much like 10,000 for you, 20,000 for you, 30,000
That's
for you. It's going to be at like the top end. So encourage you, if you're watching this, to do that type of research. And I appreciate your transparency on that because, um, yeah, 10%, the top 10%, that's not a ton. And you got to make sure that you know if you can afford it before you kind of go down that rabbit hole and fall in love. So do your financial due diligence is what I'm trying to say.
Definitely.
Um, okay, and you said like those extra scholarships, those are something that can be found online, like through your admissions website.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
There are a few
Um,
different ones, and then it would be separate sort of additional submissions for each of them.
okay, very cool. Let's talk briefly about just campus culture. I am someone who went to a Division 3 school and I played Division 3 athletics. Like, can you tell us about kind of the vibe on campus with athletics, arts,
Yeah.
clubs, Greek life, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are also a Division 3 school. We have 24 varsity sports. We're basically missing American football. Classes
Undefeated.
undefeated, yeah. Classes run Monday through Thursday, actually. And so that gives Friday, we don't call it a 3-day weekend, but it means that Friday opens up for group work, for an internship in Boston, for meeting with teams or practices or anything like that. And I think that really kind of contributes to the campus culture here. Like I said, we have over 120 different clubs and organizations. That includes performing arts, athletics, a lot of different identity and multicultural based groups, obviously, some professional and business groups. We have about 20% of our students involved in Greek life, and that
Okay.
encompasses a few different social fraternities, social sororities, and then co ed professional fraternities. So it's a really nice mix of students with different sorts of involvement on campus. This is definitely not a place where people just hide in their room by any means. It's also
Mhm.
not a suitcase school where students flee on the weekends. There's definitely a lot to do on campus that keeps students really fulfilled. One event that we have, I think it might be every month, every other month. It is incredibly competitive. I always say that Babson's a very collaborative, supportive environment until you get to Babson Bingo, which
Uh,
bingo I know does not necessarily sound all that exciting for 18, 19, 20 year olds, but it gets incredibly competitive, and it's because of the prizes, which include concert tickets and flight vouchers and AirPod
ooh,
Maxes and all sorts of different things. So that is one event that really brings the community together in a fun competitive setting.
that's awesome. Speaking of competitive, do you have a rival school?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not sure at this point right now.
Yeah, you're
I
too
think it might
fresh. You haven't
depend a
had
little
and you
bit
don't
sort
have
of on
football.
the different sports as well, but no one specific rival.
Okay, that's funny. Well, yeah, I'll definitely put Babson Bingo on there. Um, okay, let's talk real quickly about study abroad. Is that something that's prevalent on your campus?
Yeah, that's huge. So about 65% of students at Babson study abroad at least once, comparing that to the national average, which is about 10%. We have over 100 programs in 40 different countries on six
Oh,
of the
wow.
7 continents. We have everything from very traditional semester abroad programs to a year-long partnership with the London School of Economics, where we send about 50 students each year. And then we also have a large number of short-term programs where basically you are going with a faculty member and 15 to 20 students to a location somewhere around the world for maybe 2 weeks over spring break or summer break, and getting a full 4 credit class out of it. So that's a great option for potentially athletes who maybe don't want to give up a
Yeah.
full semester, maybe students who don't want to commit to a full semester, or students who have gone abroad for a semester or two already and just want a little bit more.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. 65%, that's such a fantastic number and it definitely sounds like you're facilitating that. And I love that you mentioned again as a former student athlete, that's such a barrier that
Mhm.
students are like, "Oh, I play a sport, I can't do that." And that's the beauty of the D3s is there's these options for students and like it's a part of that holistic experience for a student to be able to go ahead and study abroad and play the sport and do the internship and travel and do those things. So, I love that you guys do that. I did have a question I accidentally skipped, and I should have gone back to it.
That's
But can you
okay.
tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about housing? So again, being in Boston, and again, I'm in like a suburban community, and I think we get this question quite a bit when we do have more. I know you're not an urban school, but you're near a big city, and the cost of living is extremely high. So, what's the requirement for housing? What are you seeing your students like? How many years are they staying there? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So we require housing for your first year and your first year only. We guarantee it all 4 years. That being said, about 85% of students live on campus all 4 years.
Okay.
It is a very residential campus. Part of the reason I think is, we have the housing, the dorms are nice, it's a beautiful campus.
Mhm.
Another part of the reason, though, is that Wellesley doesn't have a ton of off-campus sort of student housing. So generally speaking, students who are commuting from either Boston or Framingham, not too far away as well. But really, for the
Okay.
most part, students are living on campus.
Well, that's great. I love that you have that option because that's a question that we get a lot of times from parents, or they don't understand that when they're like deep into the process. And I'm thinking, okay, you're guaranteed 1 year. And then after that, Johnny and Susie
Yeah,
have to find a place in Boston to live. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to
that's a
cost us
lot.
3 grand a month. And like, or in order to fit their budget, they're commuting, they're living 25 minutes away from campus and taking a train or a bus. So the fact that you have 4 years of housing available to students, it sounds like that's the trend. Like, even though they only have to do one, everybody wants to stay. And
Yeah.
that definitely contributes to a more vibrant campus community and just getting to know your peers and making connections and things like that. So I'm glad that there is an option for all 4 years.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we are about at a half hour. I think that went so fast, but um, because you are newer to Babson, I will throw this out there. Usually it's a softball, but it might not be. And if you want to omit, skip, that's no problem.
Okay.
But who would you say is Babson's either most interesting alum or maybe an exciting guest or speaker that you've had on campus?
Yeah. Wow. There are actually a few.
Okay,
Um,
you're prepared for this one. You must
I
have been
am
like,
prepared for
okay,
this. I'm gonna give you, is it okay if I give you a really long answer and tell you about
yeah,
a class
yeah,
that is really important to knowing about Babson that I wanted to talk about as well? So we have a course called Foundations of Management and Entrepreneurship. It is a year-long class that everybody takes in their first year. Usually classes are a semester long, 20 to 25 students with a professor. This is a year-long, about 40, 45 students with two professors. And it is basically the prerequisite for everything else. And this will answer your question, I promise.
okay,
So in this class, students are broken up into groups and they are tasked with identifying an unmet need in the community. And
okay.
essentially, they have to come up with a business idea. They create a product or a service. They go through a few different rounds of pitches, rocket pitch first, and then the feasibility pitch. Groups that are not moved on to the next phase get absorbed by the other group. So everyone is always working in an active business. And then in the spring semester, those groups that have been selected receive a $3,000 grant from Babson to launch their business.
Oh,
They
cool.
spend the spring semester operating, working with suppliers. Everybody in the group plays a role, just like in a real business. So there's a CEO, there's people doing marketing and HR and accounting. And by the end of the semester, you do end up actually liquidating your business, although you have the option to buy back the business, which is
Hmm.
where Bombas Socks comes in. So a very popular sock company, Bombas
Yes,
Socks,
yes.
actually started as an FME business here. But I also
Oh,
just feel like
wow.
that's a really important class to share about Babson because first of all, when I first heard about that class, it sounded to be more like a capstone course. And I think it's
Hmm.
amazing that students are doing in that first year. That helps them really kind of decide how they want to move forward, helps them inform their choices about maybe what types of concentrations they want to pursue. We have lots of students who come in and say, I want to do finance, I want to do finance. And then they take that class and they say, actually, no, I want to do something else. So it's a great, very foundational course. That again, some cool businesses have come out of, but also just a really great
Yeah.
learning experience too.
I don't want to freak you out, but I feel like I'm wearing Bomba socks right now. I just put them on, but I don't want to take my shoes off and show you. I just trust that I'm wearing them. But that's a really cool story. And that was exactly what I was thinking too. I'm like, this sounds like something that seniors would be doing. Like that,
Mhm.
when you almost like when you get asked as a senior to do like consulting for a
Right.
company and like figure out a need in the community or identify a
Right.
need within a
And we
business
have
and then you
that
have to
too,
work through it.
but
Yeah.
it's, yeah, doing it in your first year, I think really kind of changes the game and helps really shape the rest of your college experience.
Well, I love that. That's a great answer, and I'm glad you took the time to explain it, as well as taking the time to explain all this wonderful stuff about Babson College. So we really appreciate your time, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us, and maybe our paths will cross in Boston at some time in the spring.
Yes, I hope so. Let me know if you're on campus.
Will do. Well, thanks again for your time and best of luck to you with your recruitment season, and we will be in touch.
Thank you so much, Allison.
Take care.
Bye.